Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin and why I think we're about to get a 20 to 30% rally from this market. Now, before we get started, if you guys are enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also click the bell icon so you get notifications. All right, so looking at the daily chart for Bitcoin, this is something we have talked about for weeks now. Some of you guys who have seen the recent videos are probably thinking, oh my gosh, we hear about this stuff every single day. But there's a reason for that. And it's because if you look at ever since the start of 2021, every single time Bitcoin puts in a liquidation candle like this, where you get a large red candle with a lot of selling, a lot of cascading going on with those liquidations, then you get buying later in the session, so you get that long lower wick. Okay, so designated by these red arrows, you can see that every single time Bitcoin has a liquidation candle like this, it drops about 4 to 8% below that low before bottoming. So same exact thing here recently. December 4th liquidation candle, Bitcoin has now dropped about 5.7% below 42,000. Okay, so far this is playing out exactly like I've been saying now for weeks. Ever since we had this liquidation candle back here, I was talking about a potential for a move down toward 40,000. So you guys know that I had a lot of bids set down there. I've had a lot of those bids fill, and I am still in that long position. Now, just so you guys know, it is a spot position, so I'm not using leverage here. Now, one thing we really haven't discussed too much is what tends to happen after we get that liquidation candle and the move below it. Where does Bitcoin tend to go historically speaking? And if we look at the price action, again, this pattern ever since early 2021, you can see where we get the low down here below the liquidation wick. We then get a move higher every single time this has occurred. Now, the average move from Bitcoin is about 63%. Okay, so if you average out all of these moves, it's about 63%. Now, the smallest one was back here, and this was about 27%. Okay, now, obviously, there's no way to know what is going to happen, and this is all just historically speaking. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin is going to rally 63% from the low. Okay, that's important to understand. But if we use past price action to get an idea of what's likely here, and we look from the low down here at 40, all right, so a move from $40,000, if we did get something like that smallest move around 27%, it would put the market up here right around $50,000. And that would actually make a lot of sense because we know that this area between 50 and 53 is likely to be significant. So if we were to get a test here, it's likely that we would see a lot of sellers come out and try to defend that area. Okay, so that would be about a 27% move up, right in that 20 to 30% range. So I just think that based on this level up here at 53, I do think that the market is going to test this area between 50 and 53 over the coming weeks. And again, that kind of lines up with what we've seen from Bitcoin every single time it puts in this pattern. Now, again, this doesn't mean it will happen because this is historically speaking. Okay, it doesn't mean that we're about to get a 63% rally. It doesn't even mean that we will get a 27% rally. But what it does mean, at least historically speaking, is that we are likely to get a 20 to 30% bounce from the low. Now, let's talk about the low for a second because we've seen the low at 40,000. We've seen a nice little bounce since that time, about 12%. But we don't know yet if this is the bottom down here. And the reason I say we don't know is because we haven't had that breakout of this area here. So this is going to be a confluence of resistance based on this horizontal level and also channel resistance. Okay, so until Bitcoin closes above this area, we don't yet know if this is going to be the bottom for Bitcoin or if we're going to get another rotation lower, because keep in mind that a few of the times we've seen this type of pattern from Bitcoin, what it tends to do, if we look back here, okay, we had this low right here, the market moved up, and then it retested those lows before moving higher. So the market didn't just go straight up. It came up, retested those lows, and then moved higher. Okay, so that's something we could see here from Bitcoin over the coming days. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean that we can't revisit this area around $40,000 before moving higher, potentially even that $38,000 area. So I do still have some bids set down here. A lot of my bids were filled between 40 and 42, but I do still have a few bids set down here below 40,000 just in case. Again, spot only. I'm not using leverage here just because the market has been so indecisive lately. And it's also a very ranging market. All right, so not a lot of momentum. That said, I do think that historically speaking, not only is it likely that we get a bounce from the $38,000 to $40,000 area over the coming days, but just historically speaking, I do think that we see at least a 20 to 30% move off of that low. Okay, and again, that would put the market somewhere up here between $50,000 and $53,000. So before I go, I'm going to leave you guys with this. If you're looking for ways to play a potential bounce from this area, there are really two ways to go about it. The first is going to be to buy down here in this area. So, if you missed this low down here, again, we could see a revisit of that $40,000 area before we get the move higher, in which case that's kind of number one. You could look to buy the low for that move higher. Now, the second way is to wait for that confirmation above 45,600. This confluence of resistance, if we do see Bitcoin close above this area, then you could play a retest of this area as new support for that move up toward 50 to 53. Now, as always, guys, this is not financial advice. It's just my opinion. So what you decide to do is your decision. It's your call, your money, right? But that's what I'm doing right now. I do have that long position on from 40,000. And if we do get a reclaim of 45,600, then I will look to play a bounce from this area as new support. All right, guys, so I hope that that's helped. For now, the $42,000 area is going to be support, but don't rule out a move down here toward 40,000, reclaim 45,600, and I do think we get that push up into 50 to 53,000, which again would match what we've seen from Bitcoin every time it puts in this type of pattern. So if you guys enjoyed this content, if you found it helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also click that bell icon, smash that like button, and leave your comment below. I will talk to you guys again on Monday. Have a great weekend.